Welcome back, weary travelers, to Recorder on the Wall. I am your Papa Abbott, not Pete.
I am Matthias, not 720.
And I am Katie.
Oh, wait, you actually are me. Wait, what happened?
Oh, I'm not Katie.
I don't know what's going on. The world's
What's
imploding.
the problem?
Wait, you don't have a dog. You have a cat.
I have 3 of them.
Whoa, imposter.
Maybe they make up a dog.
Maybe.
Yes. Maybe if you put 3 cats together, they will be just about as obedient as one dog.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, but I would still be allergic to it, sadly.
Oh.
Aw.
I know.
Anyway, welcome back, everybody. Pete can't be here today, so I'm filling in as Assistant Pete. And we're going to be going over Book 3 of the Sable Queen, Escape from Althier. Ooh.
Exclamation mark, even.
I wonder if we're going to be, just staying in a prison cell and not doing anything.
Of course.
That's
Very
how
contemplative book.
Yes. Stream of consciousness.
Breaking down the philosophy of what does it mean to be a prisoner? Am I a prisoner in just body or in mind too? Anyway, we got a lot to cover today, so let's get started. The book art, I want to call it, but it's just for book 3. It's an illuminated squarish rectangle, like we've seen from the other 2 books, with this diamond in the center, with what looks like 2 moles kind of circling back on each other. So if you turned it 180 degrees, they would look exactly the same. So I don't know if this is
us, if you will.
Yeah. Yes. Except they are not consuming each other.
Oh, great. Details.
So moving on to first chapter, covering chapter 17. We have a mouse looking down at a shrew who's just basking on the Abbey lawns, and they have a tankard and a plate of some sort, and looking none too bothered by the situation.
Yeah, this guy's a jerk. I don't like him.
No, I don't care for him either. So back at Redwall, the defenders are under some tension because the shrews who were supposed to be guarding were like, "Hey, we're hungry." So they went to the kitchens, got food, and decided, "Yeah, we're gonna just like chill here in the orchard while we have our meal and shirk our duties."
Which sounds very relaxing, but is not conducive to, guarding the Abbey in case of evil coming.
Right. Redwall's sort of a vacation spot, but, not this week.
Yeah. No.
I don't think that they understand the importance of walls. Not that they have very many beyond, like the side of their canoes.
True.
Yes. Wow.
Anyway, so Diggs and Oakhart Witherspike are basically like each having a different philosophy on how to handle the situation. Diggs is basically just hold the line. You're supposed to be here. Do your duty. And Oakhart's basically like, but I'm hungry.
Yes.
You said duty.
Oh boy.
I am seriously considering kicking you off the call right now. Okay, actually not, but
I brought this on myself. Continue.
I mean, I never control myself when it comes to wordplay, so I guess I can't fault you that hard. Anyway, so in the course of Diggs and Oakhart disagreeing as to how best to proceed, the abbess comes along and is basically like, "Please stop fighting in my abbey."
Yes.
But Mother Abbess.
He started it.
So she takes control of the situation. Is like, okay, leave the shrews to me. Goes over and finds them just not in any hurry. Probably like picking daisies and idly sniffing them, pulling up grass and watching it blow away in the breeze. And she's like, "Oh, am I disturbing you? Oh, we're just enjoying our meal. Well, are you going to go back up to the wall? I'm sure Log would be interested in hearing about your behavior. Oh no, run!"
And then she stops the main guy and she's like, "Not you, sir. You are going to go do some chores."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Divery is about to learn that Redwall isn't nearly as soft when it comes to duty.
Yes, and protecting the literal children that are in the abbey from the evil people instead of like eating lunch in the
Yes.
orchard.
And I love it. Sister Fumbrill comes along and is basically grabs Divery. It's like, I'm going to make you go down there to the cellars.
Yes.
Too sweet.
And if you
Hush,
consider
little
the
man.
size difference between a shrew and an otter, that's like she's probably a little bit bigger than him. She's like, "You want to fight me?"
It's like having, somebody who's like 7 feet tall reach down and grab a 3-year-old.
Well, yeah, and
I don't
also
think
as
the 3-year-old does not have much of a chance.
no, I mean, and also as the infirmary sister, she knows how to put you back together, which also means she knows how to take you apart.
Yes.
Good
It
point.
also has access to that cabinet with the Sister May special in it.
Yes.
But I did want to mention that Oakhart's eldest two, Rambunculus and Tragedia, are basically encouraging Oakhart and Diggs to fight each other. And it's just like, is that like their whole purpose, just to stir the pot of trouble?
I mean, yeah, some teenagers are like that. Not
Yeah.
not no offense to any teenagers, but I knew some that were like that when I was a camp counselor, just going around being like, "He told me this. What do you think about that? Are you gonna fight now?" It's like, stop it.
They don't have TV.
Nope.
Anyway, so the shrews rapidly exit the orchard and go back to where they're supposed to be. And my primary thought was, enforced cooperation will continue until your attitude improves.
Yeah.
So back to Althier, we have the young ones who are still trapped, still very unhappy with their predicaments. And they're also wondering, is it nighttime?
Yes.
Because the older of the young ones are like, I'm tired, I need sleep. And the young ones are like, but is it night? I don't want to sleep if it's not nighttime.
Yes. I feel so bad for these older girls though, because they basically are like 11 and 12-year-olds playing mommy,
Right?
It's like they should never have been in that position. Like, I'm really glad that they took that position, but it's a super hard position for them to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up,
I mean,
iPad. Sorry, my iPad's chattering in the background.
it's a pretty dark situation, if you will, when you think about it. That probably is a good idea to not explore too much in a not adult book. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
these guys gotta grow up fast.
Hmm.
I mean, I've seen accounts online of families where the kids had to grow up a little bit too quickly, and they feel like, in retrospect, years later, that their childhood was taken from them, and it's like, that's really super depressing.
Right?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't have any siblings, so like the growing up I did was basically just my parents taught me to use like proper adult appropriate language from a very young age. So I had friends, or I should say acquaintances, in elementary school who were like, "Why you gotta use such big words?" It's like, this is how I talk. But I
Yeah,
can
it's hard to make friends
certainly,
that way.
yeah, I can appreciate the whole growing up a little bit too quickly aspect, but at the same time, it's like I'm okay with it. So
Yeah, I
it's a
mean,
mixed bag here. So it's like,
I,
yeah, the teenagers here are probably not super jazzed about having to play parent, but I'm
Or
sure if we
being
were to see
captured.
them again, like 10 seasons down the line, they'd probably tell you it was a good thing in some
I mean,
respects.
maybe. But there's also the thing about growing up too fast due to trauma that is a little bit harder to kind of sort of couch as a good thing. I'm not saying that they wouldn't look back on this experience and have some fondness for the kids that they had to kind of take care of, but like they were all snatched out of the life that they knew and put into a very difficult place.
Hmm. And I don't mean to like make it sound better than it was. No, it's not a great situation, but what I guess I'm trying to say is the skills that they're rapidly developing now will be more useful to them in the future than not.
Yeah, the
Sure.
little hedgehog twins, like they seem to grow up from just kind of little kids. It says that they're 4 seasons old, so they're not very old, and they're kind of helping out in
Mm.
a lot of ways in this book, which is really
Hmm.
cool.
Then again, they are from a family of traveling performers, so I'm guessing from the time that they could walk, it's basically like, here, go take this over to mommy.
Yep.
Ability to
So
drive early.
there's a lot of that, equivalents to growing up on a farm and learning how to drive a tractor when you're 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of like, okay, what time is it? Is it time to sleep? Yeah, it's time to sleep. And the older ones sing a lullaby and lull the younger ones to sleep. Except young Digla, who decides, I'm not having any of this. It's playtime. So he decides to go off exploring, and well, we don't see him again for a little bit.
He gets
When
busted.
everyone else wakes up, when the vermin bring their next meal, they're like, "Where's Digla?" They go searching around until they find that there's actually this small fissure of rock that Brian really likes his well-concealed optical illusion, like cracks in rock that you
Oh
can
yeah.
Yes.
just barely fit through. I don't know why, but he's used this trope repeatedly. Anyway, and Digla's inside, and one of the young hedgehogs tries to bring him out, and he's like, I'm stuck, stop pulling me, ow, ow. Only to realize, hey, this actually goes back quite a ways. And is this a tunnel?
Oh.
Zoinks.
Jinkies.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tura takes one of their 2 lanterns and decides to go back and explore this crack in the rock and see how far back it goes and if they can use it to escape. Uh, Total Ex Machina.
Yep. And then they have to kind of keep the little ones from freaking out about escaping. So like, shh, no, seriously, this is not like don't yell too loud and ruin the surprise party for mommy. This is like don't yell too loud or else you will die.
Yeah.
And there's my
Which is
bird
kind
call.
of hard to communicate the idea to a 3-year-old.
Yes.
Anyway, the art for chapter 18, we have Zwilp Shade, who is looking. How do I want to put this? He
Evil?
looks good. He also has posture that screams evil. His cloak is kind of ragged, but the sword that he stole from Clarin, it looks awesome. So yeah, there's that.
So he looks evil and awesome.
Yeah,
Awesomely
mean,
evil.
being
as
evil's
one
cool,
does.
right?
Yes. So we have Zwilt, and he's not like he wanted to track down these foxes and the other. I can't really tell. Is it two? Because at one point they say 2 foxes, 2 rats, and then one point they say it's like 2 foxes, a ferret, and a weasel or something. But um, there's like 2 foxes and 2 other unnamed, unimportant creatures, and he's tracking them down, and he's not a good tracker, which I kind of like because he can't be good at everything. That would be boring. Um,
Yeah.
so so he has someone else track, and the tracker comes back. He's like, hey, so I didn't find foxes, but I did find that a big rabbit that you don't like. And so they plan an ambush.
And for once, Zwilt actually smiles because he's like,
Yes.
yeah, I can take out that Buckler Cordine guy. I don't like him.
Yeah. And so they have kind of a fight situation happen. And yeah, I'm trying to find where the fight happens. I'm great at covering chapters. But so it's who is it? Axel and Sniffy and Buckler and Skipper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, they're oh, and Skipper says "what the," which is funny. But so they're fighting, and then for I think the first time, Buckler and Zwilt come face to face with their swords, and they're sort of sword fighting, and it's kind of a coolly described fight.
Very cool
Oh
fight.
yeah. You
And
ever
then
seen the
just kind
movie
of,
Seven Samurai?
I have not.
No.
Oh, there's a whole thing about like fighter tactics that made me think of this, or the other way around. But
Unfortunately, the fight just kind of ends. It's like in the space of like 2 paragraphs, the action goes from, yeah, this is really going, to suddenly just kind of like, oh, it's over now and Zwilt's disappeared. It's anticlimactic to say the least.
Yeah, it kind of is. And I mean, I think Buckler is more concerned with Skipper and because he doesn't want his friends to get hurt. And I think Zwilt is thinking oh, this guy's pretty good. That's unfortunate. I may actually have to work and stuff. I don't like doing that. So yeah.
I just wish there was a little bit more description to this fight and how it ended.
Yeah.
It just kind of stops. And it's like, can you please at least tell me what happened to our Sable sword beast? Thank you. Because the next time we encounter him, he's just wandering up to Valea like, hey, sup?
Yeah. And so Big Bardage accidentally kills a weasel. Didn't think I hit him that hard. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of don't know your own strength, maybe.
I mean, we see that happen a lot in some of these later Red Bolt books where the I don't want to call them dumb, but the less intelligent but very big, very strong and industrious workers, usually it's hedgehogs, that tend to not know their own strength and bonk, oh, you're dead now.
Yep. So Bardage sees Tassie and he's happy, and the father and son are reunited, which is cute. I mean, the shrew father and son.
Oh yeah.
So that was nice, and they're hugging each other, and so everybody's happy for that. And then and then Mumsy comes and is like, "Hey, could you maybe remove all these dead bodies because I don't like them near my house."
It's frowned
Yeah,
upon.
I'm not running a graveyard here. This is not a crypt. Please remove the corpses. Thank you.
Did you talk about Mumsy in the audiobook at all last time?
We talked a bit, but I didn't do anything as far as her voice actress or anything.
Yeah, she's. I just think she's really good. She's just like very sort of the old practical. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like sort of an Irish type accent, but it's very good.
I think there's like a touch of Irish and maybe a little touch of Welsh in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I'm not like super confident when it comes to various regional dialects from the UK. So to our UK listeners, I do apologize.
Yes,
I'm
me
just a
too.
humble American who knows very little and watches your shows occasionally.
I'm just a dumb American. I like to drink my coffee. So anyway, so they go in after they, obey her and get rid of all the bodies. They go into her house and you know, some father and daughter are reunited, and it doesn't go quite as well as the dad hugging the baby, um, because he's like Petunia Rosebud, and well, she's like, that is not my name. My name is Flib, and her dad is like, I don't like that name. That name is dumb. And then they kind of get to a fight, and eventually Mumsy's like, hey, look, you guys are father and daughter. You're supposed to love each other. How about you start being nice? And then they kind of hug each other, and the little brother's in the middle, and he says his first word, which is get off.
Yeah.
And that kind of breaks the tension, and it makes everyone laugh.
It's very apropos for that family.
Yes.
It really is. And to bring something up, so the full name she gave herself was Flibbertigibbet, which is a word that is defined according to Google as a frivolous, flighty, or excessively talkative person. And not exactly a name I'd want to give myself, thank you very much.
I don't think her full name was Flibbertigibbet. I think it was Flibber, but she called herself Flib. I think people were just calling her Flibbertigibbet, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think she really likes Sound of Music or something.
Well, that could be it too. That's a good musical.
Yeah, it is.
You are 16, going on.
Oh no.
Sorry, that was the first thing that popped into my head. You would think it would be
Yeah.
the Doe Deer song, but no, that was the first thing that popped into my head. I don't know why.
I was thinking that how do you solve a problem like
Yeah,
Maria
exactly.
How do you solve a problem like
Like-
Petunia Rosebud? How do you catch a shrew and pin it down?
This does take place partially in an abbey.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah,
It's
okay.
the cinematic universe.
Headcanon approved. Now we just need to get Julie Andrews.
So Flip is kind of describing, the situation, and that, she's got, like, she describes the Sable Queen, and I like how she kind of like speaks her mind and doesn't, like, she's like, she was scary. I was scared of her, like, sort of thing, not trying to pretend that she's, all brave. And like, oh, she doesn't scare me.
Yeah, that really annoys me when we've had characters do that in the past. It's like, yeah, I'm not scared of that. And it's like, then they very quickly get that notion removed from their mind.
Yep. So they're talking about moving bringing the youngins back to the Abbey, and Flip is like, I am going to go fight with you guys. And her dad's like, well, okay. How old is she at this point? Like 12? I mean, sure.
I think she's supposed to be like 13 or 14.
That's true.
Like young enough that being on your own is kind of a harrowing thing, but still old enough to actually be able to make it work on some level.
Yeah, and I mean, she did grow up fast. I'll give her that. Like she killed a fox. She protected people. She's not exactly a child anymore.
Yeah, lots happened lately.
I do like the way it describes Django and Flib's interaction here at the end. Django had overheard his daughter. So you'll be taking part in the attack, will you? Flib stared bleakly at her father. She seemed several seasons older all of a sudden. I will. Django nodded. Then I suppose you will.
Yeah.
that right there, I have had complaints about her character, but this is one of those cases where it's not like she's trying to take control of the situation and enforce her will like she was at the beginning of book 1, where just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill these vermin and you give me some of your food and blah blah blah. Blah. She's just like, nope, this is what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're gonna do that. Okay, more power to you.
Yep. All right. So did I miss anything in that section, or shall we proceed back to Althier?
I think we can proceed.
Okay, let's go back to Brock Hall / Althier, where they're the twins are calling to see where Tura is, but they forget that their voices echo real loudly. And so they have a scary moment with the guard because Tura took one of the lanterns and he came in. He's like, "Hey, where's the lantern?" And Tura appears like just in time. She's like, "Here it is. It went out. I was just, looking for you," or something like that. And so
And this actually works. The guard's like, well, okay, here, give me the lantern. Goes away, gets a fresh one, brings it back. Now, don't go playing with this lantern. It's for light. It's not a toy. Yes, sir.
I mean, to be fair, they don't really have much experience in this sort of situation. They're like, okay, I guess,
Yeah. Yep. I think they were led to believe that all these young ones are just sort of scared and timid and not really thinking for themselves. So,
Yeah.
which plays into their favor because then they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, if people assume you can't think for yourself and then you end up thinking for yourself, you hold a higher cards in your hands than they do.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and these guys are just the rank and file. They're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Very complex thinkers when it comes to keeping everything running around here.
Mm-hmm. Although I did find it interesting, the Mida's trying to play off the no, I think we only had one lantern, right, Digla? No, there was two. A Squiggle had one.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's a baby. That's what I kind of remind myself when I'm annoyed with him in this part of the book. He's just a baby.
Oh yeah.
He's even this is even like a stronger case than that I made with Flib. Like she's just a kid. No, he is like a toddler. They can be brats, but they're just kids.
Yeah, young children, both in Redwall and real life, are rarely capable of picking up on somebody saying something as subtle as, "Oh yes, that's true, right, small child?"
Yes.
Because reality is
Second
reality,
lantern.
and anything else is just untrue.
Yes.
Oh, that's not true. It was that old show that used to be on TV. Kids say the darndest things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they decide that they're going to escape right now because all the guards are kind of dozing off, and they think, well, I mean, if we just sit around, there won't be a better time than right now.
Yeah, the guard's like, don't make me do my job. I went to sleep.
Yes, pretty much.
Yep.
So they decide to block the opening and kind of hide it. So it'll take like they just want to stall them at this point because they know they're going to be pursued, but they want to get like, especially since they're carrying, I don't exactly know how many young ones there are, but it seems like the twins and Mida and Tura are all carrying like one or two or maybe three, and then the rest of them can follow, but they still are like tiny children, so they have to like sort of shepherd all these children, and they, better start now.
Yeah.
This is
if you've ever had to try to corral like more than a dozen, small little ankle biters of varying ages,
Yep.
Yes.
it can be very difficult to get them to focus on, okay, time to wash up your hands for snack time, much less, okay, please be quiet, stay in order, move quickly, otherwise you are going to die.
Yes. I really don't know how they did this. This is like the first time I read this, and even on subsequent readings, this is just like, ooh, it's kind of nail biting because it's like, okay, they're trying to get like these tiny children out, and as soon as one of them steps on a sharp rock or something, they're just gonna scream because they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So it's like, but they get going.
And then they quickly stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
And they stop. Go
They
ahead.
don't know where they're going.
there's like, isn't there like a fork in the
Yes.
passage? Yeah.
Well, actually, I was thinking because at the end of the chapter, they stop because they reach water.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yep. They got to do some
And,
swimming, or they have to turn around. They kind of have to decide which one.
and it leaves the chapter on a bit of a cliffhanger as we move into 19, where we see couple of vermin with a giant cauldron. One of them a guard holding a spear, and the other uh, more like a cook holding like a couple bowls and a ladle.
Yeah, that those guards are going to be not in a great position pretty soon.
No.
Mm.
Once management finds out.
Yeah. HR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally have a note here. Someone is about to experience why vermin HR is a necessity.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we start off, where they're like, "Oh no, it's quiet in there, too quiet."
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Right.
Oh no, it's too quiet!
Oh god. Which is how they get the job done around here, apparently. And then yeah, so we have talking about we're not going to be happy when our management's not going to be happy, which is probably where some union reps could come in handy.
Yes.
And they decide to start passing the buck real fast.
Pass it up the chain of command. Nope, nope, it wasn't me. It was him over there. Nope, nope, it wasn't me because that guard went in to give them food, and he's the one that raised the alarm.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't
Second shift,
me.
not third shift. So yeah, raise the alarm, and they have to tell Vilaya over here, who then um, starts investigating the situation in a much more methodical manner than just panicking about what's going on, which I guess would describe basically why somebody like her is in charge.
Yeah, she
Composure
makes
is
Derva do it.
definitely important. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I like the moments here where she starts asking questions, and the silence became almost deafening as Vilaya gazed from one to the other, trying to. I feel like I'm doing a terrible job of moving through this chapter.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
Just that palpable feeling of anticipation of okay, who's going to crack under the weight and pressure first?
exactly. So they figure out where they don't figure much out beyond trying to find exactly where they escaped. So sorry, my tablet just told me it has low battery. Isn't that nice? As they take the approach of, well, they had to get out somehow. And instead of, because as we have seen, the average vermin is not very good at this, we have second in command has to start taking charge of this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Derva, the old
Derva,
rat,
mm-hmm, the
who
trusted advisor.
reminds me a lot of Giselle from The Angel's Command.
Oh yeah.
I haven't read that
Just
one yet.
yeah, that's one of the Castaways books,
Yeah, I
which
know.
are a lot of fun. Also kind of dark, but a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah, so they start digging at where they find the tunnel, finally, and they get the bright idea of maybe we're doing this the wrong way.
Hmm.
Who would
I
have thought?
wonder.
Yeah.
Oh, and then suddenly Wilt's back and like,
Yeah, he
what's
just
up?
shows up. Yeah.
He's kind of
Let me tell
enjoying
you
this
how
though,
well
because-
things went.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's definitely not happy with his middle management position anymore.
Yeah, he's setting eyes on the big boss position. It's just like, that lovely golden parachute and severance package could be mine.
Yeah. And how do I make the travesty of our forest battle look like I came out on top?
With spin and PR, of course.
Yeah, of course. Like we said, he's good at being evil and cool. That's what he wants to keep up.
The problem is, at the end, he'll only be able to do one of the two. So,
But
anyway,
here we also see the cracks starting to form in the management structure of the Vermin
yes.
Horde here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen signs of them for a while, but they're really obvious now.
Yeah, instead of like in her chambers in private audiences, it's like out there in the open in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's trouble
Yeah.
in paradise. Not that
Yeah.
it was ever paradise to begin with, but the point still stands.
Yes.
Yeah. He's undermining mom in front of the children now with sarcastic tone.
Yes.
You're saying mean things about mommy.
Yeah. Stop it.
Don't you two love each other anymore? Well, not that they actually loved each other to begin with.
Mm-hmm. And he says, well, my way of getting this done is going to be better than your way of getting it done. You know, look how far we've gotten so far. I need an army. I'm taking my army. And we're going home.
Yeah, Zwilt's overconfidence is going to be his undoing. One does
Yeah.
not simply attack Redwall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but doesn't he agree to like help look for the young ones
does,
at
yes.
this point? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they they get a report that, oh yeah, the path inside, yeah, splits in two, goes left and right. And Zwilt's thinking to himself, yes, according to these signs, they obviously went left. And says
Right.
as such, and Valea's like, I don't want to look like I'm agreeing with you. I'm gonna go right.
It's the principle of the thing.
Yes. She asks Derva, and Derva's like, "Oh crap. Well, I can't agree with Wilt, so."
Yeah. And they start to get to the point where they're actually talking, openly threatening each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of fun. Okay, and as they split up, we head back to Redwall Abbey. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, there we are. Sorry, I lost my spot for a second.
Oh no.
Oh no! Where they are talking about their... Oh yeah, where they're starting to... Where they make their decoys.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
They're trying
Redwall
to
is starting
decide.
to... What?
They're trying to decide. Okay, if we're gonna, when Buck and crew comes back and are like, here's where Brockhall is, and we have information and we have an idea of what to do next. It's like, well, we need to send everybody out. So
But, yeah, so...
we can't leave ourselves undefended. How do
Yeah.
we make sure we're defended?
It's Redwall starting
Yes.
to go from their idea of, we have no idea what we're doing here in a time of crisis to finally starting to adapt. And it's sort of like that little, if you've ever seen the early red versus blue, they say, why are we here? We're here because they're over there, but they're over there because we're over here. We need we need to send people out, but we need people here. So they come up with their nice little plan to make scarecrows, which they
Yeah.
obviously can't call scarecrows in the world of Redwall because that would make no sense.
Because I don't think General Ironbeak's army would be very frightened by such things. They'd probably look at it and be like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
Yeah. Pretty much.
but it's at least creative.
And
So
it's
yeah,
actually Oakhart who suggests the ruse of basically propping up some cloaks on poles and leaning a spear against it to make it look like a defender.
Right. Which, will work from a distance, as they
Hmm.
say. But it's better than nothing.
And
then, of course, we get.
Tragedia and Rambunculus, showing off how the whole thing works. And she continues to be about as melodramatic as possible
Right.
because her entire character arc can be summarized as frustrated, aspiring teen actor living everywhere that isn't near Broadway and annoyed by it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love how her dad's giving her acting advice though. It's just so funny.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just
I'll
like,
scare them off.
can you please stop with the melodrama? It's getting old. Be gone, vile vermin! Back to the shadow of your dark lairs, ere ye provoke the wrath of a warrior hawkmaid and bring calamity upon yourselves. It's like,
I love how the actress does it. It's like Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, nice.
yes,
It's so great.
it's great in terms of the quality of the acting, but at the same time, it's just like, I am annoyed by this character.
Yes.
Please stop.
Oh, yeah. Which I feel is sort of the point, though.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they come back and they bring their intelligence. Wait, we already said that, didn't we?
Mhm.
Yep. Sorry, I went back a few too many pages. Oh, yeah, and then they decide that they are going to start some actual wartime engineering of, what are they, ballistas?
Ballistas, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Red Bull Abbey is getting its stuff together. Finally. Took them long enough.
Yes.
They're
And
they're
Formal
they're
is
doing that.
the voice of good reason thing that moles do, where it's just like good mole sense,
Yep.
making everything better.
Mm-hmm. I mean, practicality is very very useful in wartime situations.
Mhm.
So then we get
The
back
best
down to
part
the
is,
escape.
yes, chapter 20, where we see the external part of Brockhall, the giant tree with the little door at the base, which doesn't really match up to what my conception of Brockhall was, because it's basically just, okay, what if the trunk was this super big column of wood? It's got a couple of big branches coming off of it higher up, and then the door at the base looks tiny by comparison. It's, if the tree is, a given width, by ratio, the door is maybe like a sixth of the width of the whole tree.
I mean, that sounds adequate.
It does, but then you remember that that door is supposed to be big enough that a badger can go through it.
Oh, sure. Okay, so it's gigantic.
It's gigantic and yet tiny in comparison to the rest of the tree. So it's kind of this weird thing where nothing quite matches, so somehow everything does. I don't know how that works.
It's a fantasy book.
Oh, yeah, sure, that fixes everything.
Of
Yeah,
course.
So you know.
So we get back to the escapees, and it's not going well. I feel it.
Oh.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's a very
Anyway,
claustrophobic situation, like metaphorically and physically.
also the giant eel.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, at least it's not a pike.
Well, depends on how you look at it.
Oh no.
I mean, I was thinking of the pike curse.
Yes. That's not going to go away anytime soon.
Nope.
No, it's not. I mean, I broke the curse, but we're going to keep making reference to it, so it might as well come back at some point.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's my fault. I brought it up.
Okay, fair enough. I was gonna bring it up anyway.
Eh. Uh, so yeah, there's this giant blind eel that's just occupying the water that's in this tunnel. And it's like, okay, two questions. One, how is this absolutely enormous eel occupying this otherwise small body of water? And two, how does it feed itself?
Well,
Read on to find out.
yes.
That
Unless
reminds me.
going back to Raven's original joke, it's like, is this some kind of Ouroboros situation where it's able to like
Mm,
eat its own tail and then regrow or something like that?
I hope not. That sounds uncomfortable.
right?
And bizarre and defies the laws of physics. But then again, when have these novels ever fully adhered to reality?
Exactly.
What, you mean anthropomorphic animals are not real? What?
Oh, that reminds me actually. The museum on the shore of Loch Ness. Every single exhibit basically has all this scientific stuff. Like there aren't enough fish in there to support any sort of large animal or a plesiosaur if you want, but maybe it's there. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, so through a little bit of rigmarole, song and dance, and realizing that the eel isn't actually attracted to them, it's attracted to the lantern, that the heat that the lantern is putting off. They are able to carefully skirt their way around the eel and cross to the other side. They find some mushrooms, which are surprisingly safe to eat. Uh, Remember, kids, if you come across wild mushrooms, don't just randomly eat them. They
Be
might
very
be
careful.
poisonous.
Yeah. Well, these people or animals specifically have experience too. Like I've seen and eaten these ones before.
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't normally, as humans, go out and forage for wild mushrooms in forests. We
No,
don't do that anymore.
it's a bad idea.
Indeed. But I do like
Anyway,
how, like, with the eel situation, that Mita and Tura did remain calm, because if they would have panicked, all the other kids would have panicked.
Mm-hmm.
mhm. And anybody who's had to corral kids during a tense situation knows if you panic, they panic.
Oh
Yep,
yeah.
all is lost. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, so they're able to all eat some mushrooms. They're able to drink some water, and they feel safe enough because they'll hear the vermin coming down the passageway.
Yep. And
So they
Mr.
decide,
Digla has a tantrum.
yes.
Oh yeah.
And the Hedgehog twins sing this really insulting song about him
It's
that
so
he's
good.
just, it is, but at the same time, going to sing an insulting song about one of your friends and fellow former captives. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but is this really the time or place?
It does the trick,
Especially,
though. It
Yeah.
makes everybody
does the
happy.
trick, and he doesn't get that he's being insulted, but still,
I just
maybe I'm
love
just too nice and would never do this in real life.
well, yeah. I also
You're one of the
enjoy
good ones.
Rachel Murphy plays Ginty, the hedgehog twin, and she has. They usually, just because she has a very sweet, sort of lighter, youthful voice, they usually have her play the female lead, or some sort of like sweet, modest person. I think she has very much fun. She plays Gliv, who's coming up, and she plays a baby, so she has a great time playing different characters. It seems like.
Mhm. But I really do like a couple of the lines from this song. Like, I'll stick me tongue out, curl me tail, and tweak the babe's snout, kick grandma, annoy grandpa, and scream and yell and shout.
Yes.
I mean, that is, when you think bratty small children, that's about right.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Anyway, so they go ahead and decide to, take a rest. Then we transition back to the Sable Queen, who is like, okay, they are like going their separate ways, and uh, Zwilt is about to go to the left, Valet is about to go to the right, and Valet is like, here, take Derva with you. She's very useful. Wink, wink.
What could possibly
And
go wrong?
Yeah.
yeah, and Derva watches Wilt basically having a very silent but hasty conversation with one of his trusted followers, and the writing's on the wall here because Wilt and Valet have been fighting like siblings, and they've stopped tolerating each other and gotten to out and out dislike. So I can only imagine that Derva's not going to have a very good. Oh, she's dead.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And we meet Gliv and what's her mate's name? Lug.
Mm-hmm. Somebody like Lug sounds like he's a really smart and nerdy kind of guy. No, he's a big, brawny, strong guy with not a lot
Who
of
would have
brains.
thought? Yeah.
Although
he did his job correctly. So there's that.
But I just imagine his mommy and daddy. Like, what should we name our beautiful baby boy? How about Lug?
Look at the ears on him. He's got some giant lugs.
Yep.
Well, that seems to happen a
He's
lot
got
in these things.
Yeah.
ears so big he puts a Ferengi to shame.
His lobes.
Yes, I knew that would make you laugh. So as we wrap up the chapter, it's basically like, oh, there's a monster ahead. I wonder what it could be. Spoiler alert, it's the eel.
Whoa.
Ooh.
So moving on to chapter 21, the chapter art is the eel. Who'da thunk?
Yep. So we started Mumsy's cave, and Axel. I love Axel. He's just so like chill for a warrior guy. He just is chill to just like sit and rest. But Sniffy is like, I want to do something.
I can relate.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of characters named appropriately by their parents, they even say that.
Yeah. Snippy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Sometimes I think that these things are like nicknames. I think people have said that, oh, this is why they call me such and such. I don't know, like they never mention what the real name is, but here, no, it's your mom named you right when she called you Sniffy. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Okay.
It's not just, somebody's called Racer because they can drive real fast. It's like, no, your mama did that to you. I'm embarrassed for you.
It's like that old Seinfeld joke of naming your kid Jeeves. Like, what job is he gonna have?
Right. So he meets up with Django and a bunch of other shrews, and Buckler and Diggs, and they're not playing around anymore. They're gonna go find these babies. Little do they know, the babies done disappeared. So they're a little late with that, but
I also like the fact that Axel used his time healing to come up with a plan, proving that he is both 100% warrior and 100% mole. He just uses some good sound logic to be like, okay, based on what I know, this seems like the most reasonable plan of attack.
Yes. And I love how Mumsy is like, you take good care of Flib, and her dad's like, all right, I will. And then I don't know if anything else happens in the scene that's where like Diggs and Flib have a little bit of an argument because he wanted to stop for food, and Django is like, nope.
Right.
So he's like insulting her dad, and she's like, hey, that's my dad. And he's like, well, you ran away from home, so it's kind of funny.
I mean, he's got a point. It's
He
like
does.
you only made up with her. You and him, both of you, only just recently made up. It's just no. You don't get to suddenly be like, yeah, we're okay now.
Yeah.
The only reason you're here is because you hated your dad.
Yes.
I mean, things change.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
So they're just talking about how good the food is.
Yeah.
Yep. And then let's see. So Sniffy's tracking around the oak.
And they come up with their
And
very I don't know if it's an elaborate plan, but they're like, here we attack everybody
Yeah.
inside.
yeah, and that doesn't really work that great. They just yell battle cries and go in, and oh hey, it's kind of empty.
That
And
was
then
embarrassing.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think this has happened before. I think oh no, because when they went into Brock Hall the last time in Trist, there were actually people there. It was just really dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was about to say, it's like there's a two-pronged attack on Brock Hall. Are we talking about Triss or Sable Queen here?
Yeah. So we go back to our escaping babies, and oh no, there's vermin, and so they're kind of gathering everyone, and they're trying to carry the hares, and the hares are kind of big, which I kind of like how like not every baby is the same. Like obviously the hares are going to be a little bit more lanky because they grow up to be hares. So it's kind of cool that he does make that comment, like these babies are hard to carry when I'm a squirrel, you know.
Or even
they're
worse,
super
a
awkward.
shrew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're carrying somebody that's probably half your size but a third or a quarter of your age.
Yes.
And they seem to have some sort of proper physiology where he's like, they don't even know how to hop correctly.
Yep. So they're considering, because there's another fork, so they're considering, which tunnel to take, and they're debating. Well, maybe we should go down because the vermin won't expect us to go that way. And then Digla's like, "This is dumb. I'm going the uphill one,"
Yeah.
which is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. And as far as this goes, it's like, okay, up versus down. At some point, you end up just overthinking it. Stop overthinking, pick a route, and go.
Yeah.
Yep. So we go back to Zwilt or Zwilt. I think Vilea in the audiobook sometimes calls him Zwilt, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Zwilt. But anyway, he sees the eel, and so he decides to pretty much use poor Lug, and I kind of did feel sorry for him. Uses poor
Right?
Lug as bait.
I kind of liked this in context of the first interaction, how it's a very contrasting character illumination, if you will, where it's like, well, the first one's figured out a way to cooperate, and look at what we're doing now.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the good guys versus the bad guys, and how they interact with their world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But yeah,
And it's one of those cases of, okay, do we think it through? Do we, use our clever wits, or do you brute force it?
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
Wilt proves that no matter how smart he is, he's just naturally going to gravitate towards brute force.
yeah. Well, he's very Sir Lancelot in Monty Python, where he's like, it's in my idiom.
yes. But this action that he takes of getting Lug killed will kind of bite him later. Kind of have unintended. I didn't mean to make that pun, but I did.
I know.
Kind
Dang.
of have, indeed. Kind of have unintended consequences for him, which is kind of cool. That's what usually happens to these villains. They like out of their hubris, they do stuff, and then that wasn't the greatest plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the ironic thing is, it's one of those cases of if he had chosen literally any other plan or any other creature to use as bait,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be suffering those consequences that we are going to
Right.
see momentarily.
Exactly. So they all kill the eel because, fun, just fun killing. And then people want to eat the eel, and he's like, no, we're looking for babies, we're not eating stuff. um, so
Yeah, and
um,
we're not looking to eat babies either. So put that thought out of your heads. Stop thinking that.
right.
Especially
So
you.
Aw.
I
I
can see you drooling. Stop it.
know. Gross. So Valea is like, well, they didn't go this way, so she wants to take a rest, so she sends a weasel to see what Zviltis found. And so she's digging her claws into his shoulder, which is not nice. But he comes back and reports to her, and then he hesitates, and then he says one more thing and walks away. And this is kind of interesting because I don't think we've ever had this much grief for like a henchman as Valea displays here. This is super interesting to me. Except for I think that might be in the next section. But yeah, I guess we can talk about that when we get to it.
No, she says
No, it's
it
here.
right here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
the only
she's
beast I ever trusted.
Yeah.
mourning Derva's death, and it's like I have to wonder if Derva wasn't like Valea's nursemaid from like childbirth or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
something
but it was
akin
like,
to a adopted parent.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I think the text, yeah, almost a mother figure. And like in the audiobook, she's like actually sort of sobbing the voice acting. So yeah, I just thought that was super interesting. I mean, I guess besides Lady Caltag grieving her son, which I think is a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your progeny, something that you have placed time, effort, and love into.
So there's nothing there. And
Where'd everybody go?
yeah, and so Buckler pretty much screams at them to stop, and then Diggs Force comes in and like
Yeah.
flattens everybody. And I think it's funny because Diggs is like, "Who told you all to go charging in willy nilly?" And Flip's like, you." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well,
I love this scene, particularly because it reminds me of Looney Tunes and Marvin the Martian. Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
That's actually pretty
It's
perfect.
yeah, the idea of, hey, I was expecting something. My expectation has been subverted. What?
Yeah.
So we have this great comedy of errors where both
Yeah.
sides charge into each other, and uh, they make a sandwich and there's no filling.
right?
I like Axel's observation of "'tis very odd." Odd.
Yes, very hard.
Yes.
Hurray.
In
So
his
they
Arnold
decide,
Schwarzenegger voice.
yes. So they decide to split up into 6 teams, and Buckler chooses Flib as one of the team leaders, which is kind of sweet.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
he
he's
can
earned
see her
it.
being like, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me.
I mean, no one likes getting picked last for dodgeball.
Right.
Right.
Nobody gets like picked last. I'm okay. I'm not tortured.
You're not alone.
Anyway,
Yep. So Grek the weasel sees he sees I think is Diggs's group,
mhm.
and so he goes and tells Valia, "Hey, there's people in here that I don't know." So
Valea uses ninja tactics. They're super
yes,
effective.
yeah. And she's like, "Well," and then I think the vermin are kind of speculating on when Valia and Zwilt get into a fight, who will win?
She instructs the when the tunnel path splits to left and right, to block off the right side. So they'll hide inside that little alcove area that was dead-ended, and that will send Buckler and all the attackers to go after Zwilt that way, and says basically, Grak, hey, you guard this barrier, and if it sounds like this has been discovered, come find me.
Yep. Oh, and we find Lug's dead body.
Yeah.
Poor Lug. I don't know. It's kind of like Jungo. It's like, I mean, yeah, he did just murder someone. However, he's kind of dumb.
Well, he was, doing his job.
Yeah, he was just following orders.
He's just following orders.
I was just following orders.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we talked about it already, but the whole, well, you can tell they came this way because everybody's dead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So then Zwilt is still chasing down the fugitives, and he's like, well, Valea's gonna be mad at me because I killed her mom. So
Yeah.
oh, here we go, almost a mother figure. And so yeah, he's just gonna continue with doing his thing, and when he and Valea met, there would be only one left to command 200 Ravagers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's gonna be me because I want to conquer Redwall.
Yep.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, even the Ravagers don't know which of their leaders is going to win, but veteran series readers know the answer. Neither.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Spoilers.
I have in my notes here where one of them, the River Rat shrugged. Your guess is as good as mine. I wrote, this is the most intelligent conversation so far.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, because at this point, both of them hate each other equally. It's just who has the better resources and the element of surprise.
yeah.
The answer is not what you might think.
Right.
Well, and as we talked about, a bit of luck and happenstance.
Mm. Then moving on to chapter 22, we see an unknown figure in a cloak, kind of hunched over, with one paw out on a walking stick of some sort. I wonder who this could be. Is it someone we know? Somebody new? I'm not sure. Oh, wait, I know who it is, but the narrative hasn't told us yet.
Yes.
Right.
Come back, same Redwall time, same Redwall channel.
And here we go with the this is where they find the second of the forks. Talking about which way should we go? They finally decide maybe the simplest option is the best one. And of course, they have a marching song eventually, because we haven't had many songs in this book yet, have we?
Nope.
Not as many as usual.
No, yeah, we gotta fill a quota.
Unfortunately for Pete, he's missed the low song count.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, they at this point they're using basically every tactic in the book that they have to get out of here, including singing now. Oh, and then we have the emergence of the requisite crazy hermit type creature, if you will.
Yeah, that's about, I think, as close to accurate as we're going to get.
Yeah.
Because this character is like unclean, dirty, hermit-like.
Like a leper.
Kind of, yeah, with this very, how do I want to put it? Dislike for humanity, or
yeah.
whatever the appropriate beastmanity, and very willing to ignore certain elements of morality.
Yes.
Yes.
He does not live in society.
Yes.
So instead
So
of emerging to help, he emerges to, I'll tell you which way to go. Maybe.
yeah, his name is Triggett Frapp. What a name!
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
man.
it's not as bad as some. So, and
No,
of course, does not speak in the proper Queen's English, if you will.
No. And it just
Yeah.
makes me think of Spriggett, who was a good hedgehog, and I want him back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would rather him than this guy because this guy is, um, dare I
Nasty.
say it, would Triggett Frapp is the worst woodlander we have ever seen. He is not good in the slightest, and he's only doing the quote unquote right thing here because he can get something out of it.
Yeah. In his own words, he's nasty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of thinking, compared to, it reminded me a little bit of was it a hedgehog who was the beekeeper from the last book?
Yeah.
Yeah, took that up to 11.
Blood ape is Yuzi.
Yeah. Like she at
Yes.
least had some sort of defensively, justifiable reasons to try to kill people. But this one just, I don't know.
Stay off my land. Don't take my precious jewel, Yuzi.
Yeah. Where this guy says, I'll make a deal with you. Where they don't really have much leverage anyway.
Yeah, I
So
mean
it's not much of a deal.
he knows that they have to get away from there because he knows that the
Yeah.
vermin are chasing him. So he's like, I can basically say whatever I want and you'll follow me.
Right, exactly.
And I'm just imagining
Yeah.
Spriggett found the kids and he's like, here, I will be like a father to you and teach you stuff and eat wasps and be weird. And it would be so cute. Anyway,
This guy's not a Kuna Matata.
no.
He
Yeah, I mean,
is.
even when they're talking amongst themselves, like, what do we do? They're like, well, he's crazy. What can we do?
Yeah. You say Hakuna Matata, which makes me think of Lion King. The crazy hyena, Ed, that
Yes.
is about the same wavelength we're working on here.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So yeah, we take the good and the bad. They finally get up and see sunlight for the first time in who knows how long.
And then Triggett is like, okay, just to make sure you do as I say, here, I'm going to string up a couple of babies here. If you don't
Yes.
want anything to
Yeah.
happen to them, do what I say.
I think they're the youngest ones too, like the infant hares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have not been having a good time.
No.
Like it's just not getting any better so far. Yeah, because they say, which way to Redwall Abbey? He's like, we're not going there.
Yeah, when
And
the guy that's supposed to be rescuing you is basically like, huh, Redwall Abbey? I don't know. Who cares?
yeah,
That's not where you're
I got
going.
better things to do. Yeah. I mean, he even calls them rabbits, which is never a good sign
No.
character-wise. So
Yeah,
yeah, he gets them on his little what do we call it? His little slave
raft.
slave ship.
Yes.
It's
And,
so old and leaky. Just like I'm guessing this is the sort of thing that it floats, but it's like the bottoms of your feet are wet because it's just below the surface of the water.
yeah.
Mhm.
Not in great shape.
Nope. Yeah, and our little band of captives, they know at this point they're a little catch 22 here. What are we gonna
Up the
do? Well,
creek
we got
without a
to do as he
paddle.
says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Without a paddle.
Yeah, they are up the creek without a paddle. Literally,
Mhm.
because they're on a raft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and Triggett knows he's crazy, but he doesn't care.
Nope.
Yeah. So they do their best just to
Keep him.
cooperate and figure it out as they go along.
Yeah, keep him in a good mood because if he's in a bad
Mhm.
mood, bad stuff could happen.
The
Exactly.
problem is though that they are not very good at quote unquote going along with him. So it's super obvious that both Trigget and the Dibbins, even though they're playing nice, they don't actually agree on anything, and both sides know that the other will backstab them.
Oh yeah, it's a very uneasy truce.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, Trigget just has the upper hand, at least at this point. And then finally they get to his little his island of paradise, which does seem very nice from the description, actually.
Yeah, I mean, definitely better than where they were.
Yeah,
I was just about to say.
right. And so it's that nice contrast of, well, things are kind of better.
Yeah.
And of course we have the bubbling conflict a little bit. You've got no right to keep us prisoners. You know, there's a difference of opinion here, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course I can. I've got hostages. If you don't want me to do terrible things to those hostages that I will not spell out because this is a book intended for children, but you can
Yes.
guess, you
Yeah,
will do as I
exactly.
say.
Yeah, so they've gone from a situation where they're sitting around being captives to now being active slaves because he wants a house.
And I don't know what he's thinking, but there's a difference between being crazy and being like insane. And
Yeah.
getting literal children, toddlers, and infants to build you a house. I, hmm,
Mm,
I can't see anybody in their right mind going to a bunch of children, you know, getting a couple of like preteens, but mostly just like baby through 6, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
yeah.
and saying, "Hey, build me a house," and having it be structurally sound and of any significant quality.
Yeah. Well, he obviously didn't think it through. They're like, what do you want it made out of? Wood? Stones? He's like, yeah.
All the stuff you
Yeah,
just said. That's what I
Yeah.
want.
yeah. Do you want this or this? I could do that and this other thing. Yes.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Get cracking.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth on that for a little while until we get back to our rescuers, where they're looking around going, well, we haven't really found much yet. What do we do now? And at the very least, part of their plan involves abandoning Diggs.
Well, he sort of wandered off and found some
Yeah,
food.
exactly. They're like, well, he did
So,
this to himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Diggs is his own worst enemy.
Yeah. And he can take care of himself, so they're really not that worried about him.
Yes.
So their idea is we got to get moving, we got to get tracking everybody as soon as possible. And then we end up at,
Is Wilton Valleja.
yeah, there we go. Thank you. Where they have tracked everybody pretty much as far as they can, which of course, once they end up with another thing to fight about, what are they going to do? Fight about it.
Yeah.
And we come to the what do you want to call it?
The climax?
Thank you. For some reason, the word I go to is denouement, which I know is after the climax. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And they have the world's fastest sword fight.
Yes.
Yeah,
Swill's
which
basically like, don't bring a dagger to a sword fight.
exactly. I knew. Yeah, like what do we think was going to happen? However, based on the wording of everything, what do we really think about her being dead?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, it's kind of hard to say with like vermin characters, but I know with actually in this book he did it's like, oh, Flib and those two little moles are definitely dead, you guys. They're
Oh
totally
yeah.
dead. They're definitely dead. And then
Yeah.
surprise, they weren't dead.
Valleja, very clearly dead, right? Right?
Right?
Maybe
Right?
she's only mostly dead.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, we've got Wilt wants to cut her head off, and then why can that is it Gliv? Is that the name
Yeah.
of the yeah. And Gliv going, don't cut her head off. It's bad luck, which we've never heard of any sort of superstitions with them before, but we have to go along with it because there's got to be a reason for
Plot.
this, right?
Yep.
The
Yeah.
plot demands it.
The plot
says
demands
so.
it. Yeah, exactly. And so if the plot demands it, what do we really think?
So does your book call Gliv a ferret? Because she was a stoat, and then in the audiobook it calls her a ferret.
I think
Yeah,
it does.
it says ferret right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Editing slip up. And
Mhm.
also in the audiobook it called Axel a warrior hedgehog at one point.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, I might have missed that one.
At least in my audiobook it I was like, oh, okay. We got some editing faux pas.
He can be what he wants, okay?
Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to question him. If he thinks he's a hedgehog, that is fine. He's got a big hammer.
Exactly.
Oh, I mean, he takes after Captain Frunk, so or Major Frunk, I should say.
Yes, exactly.
So, if we can have a mole learn to speak perfectly normal English, and we can have a hare who thinks he's a badger, yeah, we can have a mole that suddenly starts speaking like a hare or a hedgehog or whatever.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Yeah, so we have Gliv offer to stay behind and bury Queen Vilea, which for reasons, of course. You can
So
go on
she's
ahead.
totally dead.
Totally dead. Yes, exactly.
Because she's not actually dead.
What?
What?
No.
Oh, sorry. Spoilers.
And then we cut back to Log Django and Axel Sternclaw doing their searching and patrolling for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's food involved. Because why isn't it? Why not?
Yeah.
So it's basically
Okay.
going, find anything? No.
I mean, in my notes, I just wrote down, where are the babes? No idea.
Yep.
Really helpful there. Really driving the plot forward. Good job.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And then we
And
wind up with poor Diggs. Or maybe not so poor Diggs, because he does it to himself.
yep.
he
Well,
he ate a lot of food.
yeah, and took a nap.
Yeah.
It's of course it's food. It's always food. That's the
Yeah.
only thing he thinks about.
I totally understand that.
I mean, yeah, to an extent. And also, I mean,
Yeah.
at least he's not as bad as some hares that I will not name. Scare. Sorry.
Oh, that's quite the cough. Maybe you should go
Yeah.
get that treat.
Maybe.
Maybe you should get some scoff syrup.
Oh.
I've tried to behave myself because I'm Pete this week, but I can't give into
Fair
that
enough.
role entirely.
No, that's totally fine. Well, and then we get Diggs wandering around looking for everybody, going, which way did they go?
Which
Until,
way did they go, George? Which way did they go?
yeah, exactly. Until we find a new opponent for him, and instead of usually being the bigger, better fighter, we find someone who is capable of wielding a sling that throws what we call boulders.
Well,
Well,
I mean, it had to
Say
happen
hello.
sometime.
Say hello to a giant badger maid.
Yeah.
woo!
Foreshadowing much?
I don't know,
I mean, it's not like
but
there's a
I'm always
place that.
happy at the emergence of a badger character, so that was
Me
nice.
too. And it's not like there's
Yeah.
a place
Mhm.
that badgers usually end up in these books or anything. I'm sure that's not
Mhm.
important.
No, and she's looking for her friend.
Yes. I'm sure this will
That's
end
not
well.
at all ominous.
Yeah.
No. We move on to chapter 23.
With the chapter art being a fieldish, like, cosp or something. It's like grasses with like some green seedy bits at the end. Just not much of anything.
Yeah, can't win them all.
So it's we're back with the now captured and enslaved babes.
Aw.
It's like after midnight, or maybe about midnight. It's late at night, and they're basically trying to go to sleep, and they're really upset over the fact that, well, they escaped, but now they've been captured again. And Mida is basically scornful of, like, look, we're no longer underground. We're no longer eating slop. We're no longer in danger of being killed at any random given moment. I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, she's in a
I mean,
mood.
she's not wrong.
Yeah, but
She's not
also,
wrong.
But it's still not
What
a
was
good
that?
time.
Oh, I was gonna say she's also in a mood like her sister. They've got similar moods sometimes.
Oh, totally.
Yes. But then they start Mida and Tura, which I just noticed. Okay, no, sorry, I thought I saw a spelling mistake. Okay, never mind. I should stop staring at just the words and actually read what the words say.
What?
Nah.
But Tura and Mida start insulting each other, getting on each other's case, and eventually end up laughing hysterically because they've worked out their differences and they got their aggression out of their system. And oh no, Triget is like, shut up and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like the evil camp counselor.
Yeah.
Or to put it another way, miserable midnight moaning makes melodious malcontent mad, mainly.
Hmm.
There it
do
is.
like-
I've been waiting for one of those.
I do like the insult that eventually breaks Tura though into laughter. Bumptious bum.
Yes.
And then he just can't keep a straight face anymore.
Yep. Then back to the Sable Queen, who is, oh, surprise, surprise, actually alive.
What?
Gasp.
No.
Turns out Gliv is like, I still need you. Let me quickly cauterize that wound for you, Vilea. I'm not using your title as you're currently not in charge. And, well, Zwilt had my mate killed, Lug is dead, and I want you to kill Zwilt just as much as you do. So we have a common goal. No, I took your little poison dagger off of you while you were knocked out because I don't want that anywhere near me.
Yes. He's very clever.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
The smartest of the crew so far.
Yeah.
So Vilea is basically in a position of, she's alive, she can't do much at the moment, she's convalescing. So
Right.
this is the last we'll see of them in this book, but the final sentence of their storyline is, two creatures went to sleep, each dreaming of deathly revenge. That's not ominous in the slightest.
No.
No. I do like the voice actor for Valea in this part. Like, she usually her voice is sort of more imperious and sort of higher pitched, but in this one she's just like, I just woke up. I'm very injured. I'm talking like this now. It's really good.
Yeah. I can't handle any of this. I'm locked by 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Ow. I'm in pain. Does anyone have any ibuprofen?
Don't talk to me
Anyway,
until I've had my cauterization.
nothing like a good cauterization first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Back to Redwall, where Oakhart is basically left on his lonesome to do the wall duty because everyone else has gone into Redwall proper to eat.
Yeah, this is
And
bad.
he's the stalwart defender, and I I have to really respect the guy here for
Yeah.
basically standing up and saying, "Hey, you lot, stop being stupid idiots. Get out there on that wall top because, yeah, we have no way of knowing if we're being attacked right now because I'm in here having to castigate all of you."
I do like though that Skipper was already out there, so Skipper probably would have noticed something, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Avis Marjorum's like, "Point well taken. Okay, everybody, drop what you're doing. Get out on the wall tops." She really shouldn't have had to have given that instruction. That should have been just implicitly understood.
Yes.
But they're
And
hungry.
then, yes, they're hungry, but the friar can bring them food on the wall tops.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rambunculus doesn't want to go out because it's raining.
Aww.
And I love how his
Now,
sister yells at him. It's like, go outside. And then she sits back down, and her grandma's like, no, you're actually supposed to be outside too, my dear.
mhm. Which is another case of Tragedia is just this giant ball of drama and pot stirring who
Yep.
just wants to watch like chaos unfold in front of her. I don't know whether I like her character or despise her with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, it depends on the day for
Yeah.
me.
Anyway, the moles have been working on the ballistas, and they're all down in the wine cellar.
Where they're not very useful.
And somebody points that out, and it's like, well, why didn't you construct them up on the wall top? And it's like, well, maybe we should have before basically leaving. It's like, oh yeah, moles aren't fond of heights.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't blame them either.
Yeah, let them have this one. They're helping.
Yes. So the abbess is basically like, okay, what's the abbess?
Marjorie?
No, it's
Yeah.
actually Skipper, I think, that says, we're going to send some people to go and help you break the weapons down into parts so that they can be reassembled back up on the wall top.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Then back to Zwilt, who basically rode his Ravagers very hard all night long. And it's raining. They're tired, not really happy, but Zwilt goes up and basically is like, hey, do you want to be one of my captains? Oh, sure, that sounds great.
Do I?
His name is Phalug, and I'm guessing Phalug is going to be dead soon.
I mean, I'm
Just a
sure.
guess.
Maybe.
I like how Sam Donovan plays him, and he also plays Stringle in Eulalia, and he gave them the exact same voice, like the, oh, you gonna bust down the walls or something? It's like,
Mhm. It's like, understood, Lord. A tree shouldn't weigh too much with 5 score Ravagers to carry it.
yeah.
They're going to do the old classic, cut down a tree and use it as a battering ram. That will definitely work, as it always does against Redwall's gates.
Right,
Oh,
Queenie?
yeah. That was a while ago. Maybe things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, many seasons have passed, and I'm sure those gates are even more rickety than they used to be
Oh,
because
sure.
obviously Redwallers can't be bothered to maintain the hardware that protects them.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to chapter 24, the chapter art, we see the giant badger maid holding Diggs up with one paw. And you can see the entirety of Diggs, his whole body, from ear tip to, paw end. And you can see the badger from top of head to just below her waist. She is enormous. And judging by Diggs's proportions, he's about a third round as he is tall. He is massive. Like, there are sumo wrestlers who would be jealous of his figure. Now,
Well,
I
he
kind
does
of
know how to
want to
fight
see
too.
what the Long Patrol would be like if they had a core of sumo wrestling pairs.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Along with that navy we talked about.
Yeah.
The
So
one
Diggs
ship
is-
navy.
Yeah, the one. Well, just wait till Road Crew. You might be pleasantly surprised, as much as you can be with Road Crew.
I hope so.
Oh, Road Crew. But we're not talking about Road Crew. We're talking about a badger.
We're talking about Star Trek. Oh, I mean, yeah, okay.
So Diggs
On a
is like,
5-year mission.
yeah.
Yes.
Diggs is trying to kind of fast talk his way out of things. He's like, beg pardon, ma'am, but could you repeat the question? Which reminds me so much of witnesses who are trying to think of an answer in court. Like, the lawyers ask a very specific question on something they obviously know, and they're like, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear you. Like, sure you didn't.
Mm.
So she wants to know where her friend is, and so then he like hits her in the paw and makes her let go, and then he like, they straighten things out. They kind of are on more civil terms, and she introduces herself as, see if I can get this, Ambravina Rockflash, which is kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
And she gets called Ambry a lot, which kind of cracks me up because my sister's name is Amber, and when I was little, I used to call her Amby, which is kind of similar.
So your sister is a badger, is what you're saying.
I mean, sometimes.
Well, I won't badger you about that any further.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, so she said that she left her home, and she was dreaming about a big mountain. I'm sure that's not important. And she couldn't get along with her brothers, which I kind of thought that was cool because it's usually like male badgers that don't get along with each other, but I think it's just badgers in general is my impression, which I kind of like better. Like, sometimes badgers just don't get along with their family members and they have to like go away for a while.
I think it's because there's an inherent territoriality to them and teenager hormones.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. So
Oh, man,
yeah,
what's that? It's a big mountain, but that's not important right now.
yeah. So so she's saying that she met an otter, like just a random otter, and they got along well. They were traveling, and they seemed to get really close, and just all of a sudden he just disappeared. And this story will not end in tragedy.
This is not ominous in the slightest.
Nope. Did you guys guess who the otter was as soon as she said it was an otter?
I did not, actually.
I can't remember if I did or not. I might have had like a suspicion, but I was like, no, Jace wouldn't be that mean. Oh wait, Martin the Warrior.
Yeah.
Yes, he would be that mean.
Well, he already did it earlier
knew instantly.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So she
it was not a pleasant. It was just like, this is going to really, really, really suck.
Yeah. And so, of course, Diggs doesn't know, so he just asks what her friend's name is, and she says Flandor. Oh no,
Ooh.
R.I.P. Flandor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she dreams of a mountain. I think I already said that part, and he said, that's probably Salamandastra, and the name that you couldn't pronounce. I can, show you where it is and whatever. So, and then we're back on the island, unless I missed something from that scene.
I will say, just as a side note, Ambry is about what you would expect from a young badger: strong, driven, and not particularly overburdened with details beyond what to kill and what not to kill.
Yes.
Like Doom Guy.
I can see it.
Yeah.
So they're, it's raining and none of the kids want to work and Mida's grumpy again because it's
Yeah.
raining. She's a shrew. You got to give, and she's very stressed. She was not expecting to be, nanny to a bunch of babies. This is not how she expected her summer to go. She was going to go to like summer camp and meet a nice boy and oh wait.
Yep. We're building a
She's
house
gonna
on
learn
nothing.
how to. She's gonna learn how to do like boondoggle bracelets and
Yeah.
Yeah.
raft, rock climb.
So yeah, they're is this where Trigget Frapp he grabs Digla and he's like, I'm gonna show you my friends, and his friends are Pike, because of course.
Yes, the deep coilers.
Yeah, the deep coilers. No. But yeah, so he dangles Digla up in front of the Pikes because he's just a outstanding and upstanding gentleman.
Yeah.
And this guy he's nasty bad.
He's like, build stuff. They're like, it's raining.
Yeah.
Like, I just did that this last weekend. I was helping my neighbor, work on his car in the rain, and about an hour in, I just froze to death.
Yeah.
I relate to these people so much.
Yep. Man, he's making literal children build him a house. They have no degree in architecture. Also, it's raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trigget Frapp isn't overly burdened with things like common sense or empathy.
No. And his friends are like toads.
Yeah, and Pike.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know. Oh yeah,
I'm not sure I want to.
Did I skip the part where Tura was like dragged off by toads and then like thrown back to them unconscious, or was that sometime before?
Yeah, that was before.
That was here.
Okay.
Oh, that was here before, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this guy's got an army of unpleasant creatures at his bidding. So they start building the house, and Mida suggests, well, just think about what you're gonna do to him when you get the chance, and then that helps them. That they still are like, they're building the house. They're not qualified to build the house. They hurt all over, but man, they're just thinking about strangling this crazy dude, and it helps a little bit.
Yeah, it's just focus your anger.
Yes.
Go full Sith.
Yep. And that, my friends, is the end of book 4. I mean 3, not 4. We're not at book 4 yet.
3 of 4.
3 of 4. Thank you.
So, what are our thoughts? I mean, for myself, I found the story beats to be similar to things that we've experienced before, in the same vein that people might be like, oh, but it's so formulaic. But there are some twists and turns that are unique enough, like Valea saying, no, barricade us in, make a deeply packed wall of like earth and stone to keep us safe, so that the the beasts that are between us and freedom don't see us and will walk past. It's like, that is something we haven't seen before, but I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, she does not want an all-out battle, like a direct battle in any way.
Yeah, she is one of the few bad guy leaders that I look at and it's like, with like smarter henchmen that are like actually understanding of why her tactics are what they are, and a little less bloodthirsty, she could be an actual threat. And as she was for the first 2 books of Sable Queen. I also like that we get a lot of character development, especially from some of the characters that I've been a little bit harsh on the past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're finally getting to a point where there's character growth all around for the good guys. So
Yeah.
we have the escapees, the older ones are like maturing and realizing not just I have to keep them safe, as no, I have to be in charge and make life or death decisions, and I have to think through the consequences of my actions. You have like Flib growing to maybe understand her father a little bit better, and Django respecting his daughter a little bit more. Actually, the only good character I can think of that doesn't really go through any sort of character growth is Diggs.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have to.
We'll have to wait till the next book. He may become a totally different person. You'll get that in the next book.
Okay.
I made a joke.
I mean, I totally can guess what you're thinking. So overall, definitely I liked this book more than I liked the last book, which I liked more than the first book.
So it's just uphill for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good side.
Yeah. So I mean, I like this one. I really like the twist of the classic like villain duel, except for oh snap, she's not actually dead. I really like the character of Gliv. I like the nuance to Valea where she actually grieves for Derva. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I really do like Valea as a villain. She's super interesting to me. Yeah, I enjoyed Flib in this one. I enjoyed her and her father kind of fighting. I really enjoy Mumsy. She's pretty cool. Sort of like the ultimate mother figure, and her name is Mumsy, which is funny. I'm sure that wasn't intentional at all.
Oh, of course not. Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Right. I do like Ambry a lot. We're gonna learn, I think, more about her in the next book, so I won't really get a lot into her, but I like Ambry a lot, and she's definitely not gonna be really sad soon because of reasons. Yeah, that won't happen. It won't be tragic. It'll be fine.
Everything's fine. Everything's under control. There are no problems.
Right.
Yeah, and I still am a little hung up on the fact that some of this feels like filler. Just when you're getting into like the details of the scenes themselves, like this book just could have been shorter. But I do appreciate how it really starts to ramp up plot wise, especially towards the end. Uh, everything's coming together in its own little way, I guess. I I mean this in the nicest way possible. I kind of like the introduction of a character like Trigget. Like you said, it takes away from feeling too much like paint by the numbers, and it's a little twist on the plot that didn't feel like it was going anywhere besides we have to escape. So I really liked that. And yeah, I agree. I like the characters actually starting to feel a little more fleshed out, and this does feel a lot less formulaic, especially towards the end of the book, than it did going into it. So uh, it's weird. I went into this like the first book, I was really gung ho about it feeling like formula, and then by the second book, I was like, I don't know if I like that as much. And now we're getting to the point where it's starting to feel just like a better book to me now. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense.
So yeah, and then of course, as I said, anytime you introduce a super awesome Badger character, that takes my enjoyment up to 11. Yeah, because I always thought that was the coolest stuff when I was a kid. So I'm like, yeah, we're just introducing cool crap to the book again. You can't go wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
Totally get that.
yeah. So yeah, I really feel like it's starting to go somewhere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about does it for this episode.
We did it.
Yeah.
Yay, we survived. We managed without the grown-up in the room.
Yeah, Pete, if you want something done right.
So, you can find us at recorderonthewall.com. You can follow us on Twitter at ROTWPOD, which is also our primary contact email, ROTWPOD@gmail.com. Pete is semi-active on the Redwall subreddit r/Eulalia, and will occasionally post on the Redwall forums. The podcast is available on the major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any other podcatcher that scrapes RSS feeds, because that's what they do. So until next time, I have been your substitute abbot, Matthias.
I have been just myself, Katie.
And I've been Braden.
Wait, you mean you're not KD? Then who
Not
am I talking
anymore.
to this whole time?
How should I know?
Okay.
Oh, that
Sorry.
I have to remind everybody, this call is being recorded. Do I have your consent to record you?
No.
Is it for quality control
No?
purposes, or
This podcast might be recorded for quality control purposes.